Cinema Swirl! And the nicest herb to have with cheese is chive, because it's episode number 35.
Jesus Christ.
That was absolutely seamless. That was beautiful. Yeah. Oh, they should make more of them, because I assume the rhymes will only get better as the numbers go higher. You know. How are you doing, Sam? We've got the big one today. This is a big episode. You know what I'm saying?
This is the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna land that big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you feeling big?
I'm feeling pretty big. I had quite a hefty lunch.
Oh, do you have a big lunch? What did you have for your big lunch?
Oh, no, I didn't realise just say I'm feeling big because I've eaten all the tasty lunch.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. I understand. Oh, I thought you were having a pop at, all the big multinational companies that make sandwiches, Big Lunch, like Big Pharma or Big Tobacco.
Yeah. Like I was going to go into a rant about Big Lunch and how
Let me tell you, I'm sick and tired of Big Lunch breathing down our necks. Let me tell you.
What's your go-to meal deal sandwich?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't do no meal deal sandwich, Sam. I've evolved to a higher plane of existence than the need for your...
I make me own quinoa.
Well, sometimes if I have leftover quinoa, I will make a mixed salad with it, and some leftover veg, Sam.
Right.
But that's besides the point, I think.
Well, yeah. All day breakfast for me. So just...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, when you do that, you are disrespecting the name of breakfast so much. Because number one, it ain't breakfast, it's lunch. Right. Number two, you're like ripping breakfast out of its home and just shoving it in. You're literally putting it in a zoo for between two slices of bread for Aegis, for slack-jawed Aegis to go up at and go, oh, it's an egg and a sausage. It should be out there free range on a plate, Sam. It's where they're meant to be.
Right. Okay, here's what I will say. You know that song, Oh, I wish it could be Christmas every day. Right?
Yeah.
Is that disrespectful to Christmas?
No, it's disrespectful to idiots who haven't thought that through enough. And I thought you were going to say, oh, I wish you could have a big breakfast sandwich
well, that's where I was
every
going.
day.
That I wish it was breakfast all day.
All day, every day.
I'm a huge fan of all-day breakfast. I love breakfast. Yeah. Why not? Why restrict those great choice ingredients to the morning?
Yeah, so there's a difference. So there's a middle ground between, giving them a little bit of free will and then letting them go and do whatever they want to out of their comfort zone. That's no good, Sam. Here, let me put it to you this. Do you think there is an inappropriate occasion to eat breakfast? Like, there's a meal coming and it's like, you know what, subtle lads, let's go, we're going to do a breakfast instead. And then it's like, actually, no, this is disrespectful. This is wrong. This feels wrong. Because I'm going to say, like, instead of cutting a wedding cake, if you just dive into a big old bowl of cereal, you've done it wrong.
I bet there's been some people who've had, cereal at a wedding. That must have happened at least once.
Those nice boys who everyone hated. Remember those horrible boys who they wanted to open a shop that sold cereal and people... Yeah. They burnt it and they burned it to the ground and then they
kicked shit out of that shop. Yeah.
And they killed them. They murdered them. And then they dug up their corpses and then they poured cereal down their throats and they said, stop being so quirky. You make me feel strange. And that taught them a lesson or two.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my sandwich preference.
Okay, well, that's good. I like that we segued from big onto big sandwiches.
Big breakfast.
Big breakfast. we can talk about the movie Big today, Sam. We're talking about a very, very special one indeed. We are talking about our first Tom Hanks vehicle, which is very, very exciting. Are you a fan of Mr. Tom Hanks?
Yes, I am a fan of Tom Hanks. I'm a Hanks fan. I'm a Hanks man.
You have mentioned before The Terminal as being one of your faves?
Yeah, I genuinely really like The Terminal. I thought The Terminal was great. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Any other Tom Hanks choice cuts? If you're a Hank head out there and you want to get your fix, how do you take that medicine?
Toy Story, right?
Which one is he in Toy Story? Oh, right, yeah.
He's Woody. He's the main guy.
I thought he was... I thought he was that one. That was Woody.
No. Castaway. I've seen Castaway. I like Castaway.
Oh, that's great, isn't it?
It's a good film.
That's a real shame. I'll tell you, the awful shame about that is we will never get the Cinema Swirl. Like, there's movies you've seen, we'll never get the Cinema Swirl episode artwork treatment. I would so want to be Wilson. Like, you Wilson or me Wilson, either one. I would love either of those.
Yeah. I could do it anyway, just for a laugh.
People think there's rogue episodes out there that they haven't seen, the people wouldn't stand for it, Sam.
No. Forrest Gump is a proper cinema classic that I have seen a couple of times.
Ooh, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I really like that.
Do you often subscribe to the theory that life is like a box of Tom Hanks movies?
Life is like a box of shrimp.
Life is like a box of legs, and you ain't got no Major Dan. Where do they go?
Life is like that Bubba Gump shrimp restaurant that they have in major cities. I don't know who goes in there. Like, what is that for?
Life is like every prominent figure that baby boomers remember. So you're a Hanks fan, is easy to say.
I've seen quite a few Hanks movies.
You've seen quite a few, so it's it makes sense that, if you had not seen any of those movies, I think they would have been fine earlier episodes of Cinema Swirl. Now, there's a lot of people who have this with Tom Hanks, and I was wondering if you could shed your opinions on it. Tom Hanks, and I say this now with kind of looking around, kind of hoping that this episode is not going to be terribly aged by this.
Right.
Right? But he's... All right. I'm just going to do a quick check of Twitter first.
All right.
Tom Hanks, he's all right, isn't he? He's okay. He's all right, isn't he?
I mean, he does have a reputation. Maybe not a reputation, just like a
no,
general...
don't tell me he's done something as well, is he?
A perception as a good guy.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone seems to say that. Like, it's kind of he's like kind of in the movie where the dad turns out to be a really horrible, scary, abusive monster. And he's like how before you find out the dad, he's a respected pillar of the community. Everyone treats him like he's their dad. And I worry. Morgan Freeman, Sam. Yeah?
Yeah, you wouldn't...
Morgan freely moving hands. Google it. Not actually that.
No, I know.
If you Google Morgan freely moving hands, you'll probably get some sort of Morgan Spurlock documentary. And he's a bad
He's
as
one
well.
as well. Yeah.
God almighty.
Yeah.
All I'll say, Sam, right? If he does turn out to be a wrong'un, and I'm pro finding out who's a wrong'un.
Yeah.
But if it turns out that Tom Hanks is a wr'un, I am going to go as far as to say that the very concept of stardom is inherently flawed. We need to go back to the drawing board on this, because there can be no tomorrow if that is or today at any point in the future.
There was, I think, some sort of spoof article or clickhole or something like that was like Tom Hanks revealed as and it was just like really nice bloke. But for a minute, my heart sank. It was genuinely no, not Hanksy.
With Hanksy, it's getting to the point that if I see his name trending, I'd actually be hoping that he's died instead of anything else. If I saw he's exit through Life's gift shop, then I'd be all right with that. I'd be a few, at least the basic concept of one of the core elements of our culture is okay, in that if you're very good at movies and you're all right, we'll like you and give you good money.
Well, hopefully by the time this releases, this will all still be relevant and okay.
Yeah, episode 35 is going to become like a lost episode already. I can think about it. It can definitely happen.
No, he's a good guy. I'm going to go on record and say...
I'm going to go on record.
Tom Hanks is a good guy.
I'm going to say he's a good guy. I'm going to just throw in a little asterisk in there, just saying that Kevin can't predict the future, nor does he wish to. But don't look back at anger. I hear you say, commentator. Body swap movies. It's a frequent theme in this one. And actually, it's been pointed out to me by a few people that this movie, when it came out, it was one of several body swap movies that year alone that came out. It was a big theme of the 80s. Do you know what I mean when I say body swap?
As in, someone will become someone else or swap bodies... with someone else. Body swap. Literally swap bodies. Doesn't necessarily have to be human.
That's true. That in 9 Lives with Kevin Spacey. Oh,
I was going to mention that.
But he's a wrong in that. Oh, for fuck's sake. We take 1 or 2 little 6-month siestas. We came back, the place is wrecked. We just wanted to go to Hollywood.
We'll have to cross off 9 Lives off the classics list and
never... Oh, damn it, Sam.
I know, I'm sorry.
Another golden classic soiled for the ages. But, 13 going on 30. Freaky Friday, both old and new. There's many that have entered in here. Now, this seemed to be a weird thing that the establishment in Hollywood at the time thought was like the ultimate child fantasy, because this is a very successful movie, and it's a very, very successful trope, and it's one that people look back on very, very fondly. Now, I'm not going to preempt what I think might be a major issue with this movie.
Okay.
Having not seen it since I was a child, but I will ask you, do you know generally what Big is about?
I know quite... So the last couple of films we've done, I haven't really known anything about them. So Warriors and Akira, I haven't really known much about the plot. But Big, I think I have a rough idea of how it goes down. I've absorbed that. So I think Tom Hanks...
He looks in the mirror and he's like, I want to be the biggest there has ever been. And he just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
He starts off as a small boy, and he somehow becomes an adult man, portrayed by Tom Hanks. I don't know if Tom Hanks...
Sorry, they said an adult man who is then betrayed by Tom Hanks and assumes his identity. Yes, I am the child man all along.
Yeah. No, I think he becomes an adult.
Yeah.
I don't think he swaps with... I don't think the Tom Hanks character becomes a little boy. I think he just kind of... It's actual adult boy.
Because that's body horror. That's what his body shock horror. That's, yeah.
There's a piano. There's a big piano in Big. I know about the piano.
How do you know about that? What happens with this big piano?
It's one of those ones you can step on. You go dip, 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 bloop, 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 bloop. I'm on the big piano. I know about that. I've seen that.
Have you ever been on a big piano?
I haven't been on a big piano. I'd love to go on a big piano.
Yeah, do you reckon that's... Why do you think he wants to become big, like?
To go on the big piano and press maximum notes.
Come back when you're big, young boy.
Yeah, it's like, I can't even do an octave. I need to be bigger.
So you reckon he's gonna become... The boy's gonna become a man?
Boy becomes a man. Quicker than normal.
Boy wants to become man?
I don't know.
Is it a positive thing for a boy to be man?
There's this thing where, as a child, you perceive adulthood as being just you can do whatever the fuck you want. And it's great. This great magical world where... You know, you don't have to not do things because you're a little kid. And you kind of want to grow up a lot quicker. And then when you become a grown-up, you realise, I shouldn't have wanted that. I should have been enjoying the freedom of being a small child. That was much better than the freedom, quotation marks, of being a bloody adult in this Thatcher's Britain.
Yeah. Well, in 1988, what a time to become an adult in. You idiot, coast through. Be a child. I mean, there's so many issues I have with the basic pretense of that, I guess. But I mean...
I think it's a common thing wanting to be a grown-up.
Did you? Because that was always presented to me as a kid. It's like, oh man, if only I could be an adult. It's like, that's something I think adults put on kids. I want no fucking adult, no.
I think I'd probably felt it at some points during my childhood.
What, that you wanted to be grown up?
Yeah.
When? Why?
I don't know, just to be taken more seriously. and look at me now.
Yeah, seriously. This most serious man in podcasting, Sam Chaplin, like.
This worked out well. I think I felt that feeling before, that, you know, I can't think of any specific instances. Maybe I wanted to drop in off a certain massive half pipe, but my body was too little. I thought if I was a bigger, grown up, I could just go straight in and do some sick grinds.
And that's what you did. You got down, you knelt to and prayed to the god of skateboard, Tony Hawk, and you said, look, mate, if I die before I wake, could you at least please make me 28?
Yeah.
Heaven is a half pipe. Here you are now. You know, you're all grown up.
I am.
I mean, I would advise strongly against any child who wants to become
it's a bad idea. I'm not arguing for a second that it's a good thing, but I didn't realise that until I grew up a bit more.
For one, you'd be rubbish on podcasts. Remember this thing from when you were a kid?
No.
I remember taxes very quickly, though. Okay, so we've had a little bit of a chat about our big adventure we have ahead of us. I'm trying not to preempt what I think is going to go wrong in this.
I think I know what that thing is. I think I've heard tell of what this issue is.
What do you think it is?
I think the small boy who has become an adult has some kind of relations...
Nice.
With a lady. An adult lady.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. And I've heard people in more recent years keep bringing that up as like, this feels not good.
I've seen this once or twice, and I enjoyed it as a kid. I remember watching it thinking it was a right romp. But I remember specifically as a kid thinking, what the fuck, you idiot? Like, this is peak wrestling right now. I'm not growing up. I'm enjoying this. I got my Star Wars here. I mean, they're doing the re-releases. I'm going to miss episode 1. Are you kidding me? 30? You fucking no way. And I stand you here now, a 30-year-old man who says, I made the right decision. Those are a good 18 years. And I think this might be one of those movies that, with the benefit of hindsight, might have aged not necessarily particularly well. But I'm open-minded.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Tom Hanks, though, eh? You see that lovely, kind smile that he has on the cover? He won't do us any wrong, will he?
No.
Nah, he's a top bloke, isn't he? He's all right.
Yeah. He's the nicest man in Hollywood.
He is. He's all of our dads.
But is he the nicest child in Hollywood?
Before we find out, why don't we dip our Hanks into the mailbag?
Okay. So, we've got a message here, which has come in to cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Hey, you're doing the mailbag again.
Yeah, I thought it was such a success last time. I didn't go mad with power and get a bit giddy about it.
No, not at all.
I'm very in control of this situation, and I feel comfortable.
Well, you literally were in control of the situation because you were able to edit the audio to give the illusion of control. He's out of control, folks. He's a madman.
Madman.
He is.
Mad Manlin, just going crazy here with the mailbag. Right, so we're into the mailbag. A nice message here. It's come through from Stephen Healy, who says, "Hi, Kevin and Sam. Thanks for still making the most fun podcast out there." Thank you very much, Stephen. I have a question for you guys. In the future, when you may each have a child of your own, brackets,
Jesus,
or already do...
Oh, God, there's no one around here, is there?
What movie would you consider so significant that you'd force them to see it because it's an important film, even if they're being sick on themselves, and they don't normally do that? Besides AI, of course.
Oh, man.
It could be ones we've done in this world, or it could be any other films.
I think if my kid was like 14 or 15, I'd be like 13 or 14 even. I'd be like, what's The Big Lebowski? And like, start them on that. You'll enjoy a little bit of that. And that's just, I don't want to be, though, that I hear about this fucking weird shit, like, how people are like forcing their kids, you have to appreciate all this Star. You know what, like, Marvel and Disney are really good at getting kids to like the shit that we like already. So I don't think I'd even have to. I won't be like, oh, you like comics, they will. Like Star Wars, they will. Like,
that's your opinion, Kevin. All right, I don't want my kid having all this Hannah Montana, Justin Bieber nonsense. Right, I'm gonna raise them right with Fight Club as soon as they turn 8.
I might do to try and replicate me.
Yeah.
If it is like similar situations and I feel I've got enough variables under control, I might just drop my child in age 3 for a little burn, a little 10-second of Predator, and just kind of see like, okay, can we make them another Kevin exactly like?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I think that's the best approach with children, just to treat them as a fun experiment.
I disavow all of this question.
Okay.
Mad with power.
Oh, thank you, Stephen.
This is your new drug, isn't it? You don't need fucking Pepsi Max anymore. You got mailbag, Max bag, more like. Am I right?
Yeah, right. So we've got another question here. It's come from Noah Leatherland.
They're not all your mates, Sam. They're just concerned citizens writing into a podcast.
My mate Noah's written in, and he's saying, "Hey, Cinema Swirl lads," that's us.
Hey, he's a top mate, that guy, huh?
He's a top bloody bloke. I'm writing to ask you what your preferred drink container is for your cinema-going experience. I've started to drink from plastic bottles with screw lids to accommodate for my love of Dr. Pepper recently, but I'm not sure how I feel about the lid situation compared to the ease of fountain soda with a straw. Plus, add in your luxury cinemas with your regular glasses, as well as other drinks snuck in, cans, flasks, etc. It's a whole other ball game. What are your thoughts?
That's very interesting. I do think the screw cap on top of a bottle of a mineral or of a soda, that would a soft drink.
Yeah.
I remember going to a music festival when I was like 14, and all of the bottles of mineral we had, they had to unscrew the caps and just give it to us. And I go, but it's going to go flat. And I go, yeah, mate. And he held it and he went, but someone's eye could get taken out with this. So I think that the screw cap from a soft drink is actually...
Right.
I mean, and that was, 16 years later, Sam, I'm no closer to figuring out its deadly secret. I'm just like, whoa, kind of, don't want to, it's like an unexploded bomb on the beach. It's kind of like, whoa.
You can't shake up a bottle of pop enough that the screw cap will come off. It's not like...
No, they're saying that the cap on its own, if you open up, you feel that rough texture. I always thought that you'd kind of... You pop and you twist.
Jab it in someone's eye.
It's a very close range. I mean, if someone's going to resort to that, they'll probably murder you with their bare hands anyway. That's what I thought. But he still wouldn't give me my screw cap back, no matter how much visceral detail I went into.
Right.
I will say, I'm a big fan of the big squeezy sports bottle that actually contains pre-made drinks. That's very good.
Right.
And I think I'm on Noah's side here in that I'm just assuming on his side, but the fountain drink. I'm in a pickle, Sam. I'm not going to be these people going to go, hey, you're not going to get me. No ice, please. I'm going to have a warm, flat soda, Yes, I want my ice.
Yeah.
But I don't want my drink to get watered down over time. I basically, when someone asks me if I want a fountain soda, I'm kind of like, I don't want the laws of physics to work the way I know they do. So I feel like it's an unreasonable agreement for me to get into. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm a big fan of the, like, big gulp style cup with a straw.
So you can have a big glug.
Yeah, now the thing with all of these drinks containers is there's sound downsides to each of them. And I think it's about being considerate to other cinema goers. So
You don't want the... That's the drinking noise. You don't want that.
going on that back row?
Someone's having a bloody big glug there, you freaks. Stop it.
That kind of, that slurpy noise that comes from a water bottle or a drinks bottle. Like yeah, there's that. You've got the... Or you've got the straw at the end of an empty drink slurping up the last few bits. Yeah, they're all bad sounds.
And then you've got these ones as well, haven't you? You've got, these ones.
Yeah. I mean, I know times were hard, but we shouldn't have been drinking out of whoopee cushions in our uni days. But we didn't have any other containers.
Here, Sam, do you want to whoop at this cider, do you?
Actually, I think probably the safest way is to just some sort of sponge system that you just soak up all the drink into it and just, squeeze it into your mouth like that. It wouldn't make much noise.
I remember hearing someone, I'm not sure the context of which, putting liquor into a hot water bottle, and I don't know why. But it went in there, and it was for the purposes of stealth. It would be immoral of me to say it was in the cinema because I can't say for sure. But
Maybe
I
to
do
get
know
into
that
a
happened.
festival or something like that.
That's probably, I think, what it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
A nice sack there. So yeah,
Smart.
very interesting. I will say though, until you get to the end, and assumedly, this is what I think they want to get you. They want you to be drinking that straw. It sounds. Tunnel. I'd try to make the noise of electricity flowing because that's what it sounds like. Just simple in through the straw, nice fluid movement. Until you get to the end, it makes a lot of noise. But maybe they want you to get disgusted by the watered down soda at that point. That you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave that inferior product to one side now. I'm finished with that.
Maybe they're trying to...
A truly silent confectionery drink experience then.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they've actually thought it through.
Maybe we should all just say no to the end of that watery soda, huh?
If we can get that campaign trending...
Use the hashtag, guys.
Hashtag say no to the end of that watery soda.
Yeah, it's a tight 120 characters, I think.
Can't tweet anything else with it.
No, just that. Maybe a picture of a watery bit of soda at the end. It could work.
Yeah, well, thank you for your questions, guys. If you've got any questions, queries, comments, or other stuff, just be sure to send it on over to cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
Hey!
Well, Sam, we've had some big questions into that big old mailbag, and now it's time to get to grips with some... I haven't been this uneasy in a while. I don't want to be like, yay, we're going to watch a paedophile movie, but I think we might actually accidentally be doing that.
Okay.
Did you get any looks in the DVD shop?
I've not been to the DVD shop this time. I've been stung by my past experiences with the Warriors, and I'm not going in there anymore.
I think I got stung by a bee, and you're like, not going to go in.
I've been stung. I can't use my hands anymore.
My
I can't
face
pick it up to go in.
Yeah, it's hideous, horrible sting.
No, I've learned from my horrifying experience of that misprinted DVD, which we gave away in a competition, which is nice.
So yeah, next time you try any of that shit, we'll just come up with a creative way to engage with our audience. So fuck you guys.
I don't need that
boom.
£1.50.
Not you guys. You guys are great, obviously. We were just saying those other guys, those specific guys. But you guys are great. Unless you're those guys, which you shouldn't be thinking you're great. That's for these guys, not you guys, all right? Fucking hell, you guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Are you ready to... Are you ready to get into it, Sam?
I'm big ready.
Yeah, you're big ready. Well, let's all make a wish and go do a cinema swirl. And we're back. Big Boy's back after having watched big movie, big episode of Cinema Swirl here. Big, or as it's known in Irish, more. I'm doubling down on this. I'm telling you, honestly, for someone who was literally daydreaming during Irish class as a child, I surprisingly have retained a lot of crucial information. More being big, and biog being small, and bristi or trousers.
Hold on. Wait, what's small?
Bjug.
Bjug.
It's a nice word, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just kind of like, I'm here for you. You're the horrible Protestant landlord. And I'm like, I've got some lovely, nice Irish words that you could steal, master, if you want. I've got more, and we've got bjug as well, if you want. No, I don't believe we'll be taking any of those.
Yeah, no more bjugs for me, thanks. I'm all right.
More, or as it's known in Swedish, store. So store. Or as it's known in German, gross. Ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh,
no.
gross. Sam, initial gut reaction to the big film.
England. We're bringing football back home. Yeah.
Hey, Alex Ferguson.
I liked it. I did like it. It was a good film.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You liked it?
Yeah. I had a good time watching this.
I had a good time watching this, despite I had so many reservations peppered in. I was prepared to think, I'm not going to like this.
There's bits of it that we will get to.
Yeah.
That, not ideal.
No, there's bits in it which are pretty much could be lifted straight onto a how not to be a paedophile, even in a conceptual sense.
Yeah.
Training video, which we could.
Yes. However, overall, taken as a larger piece of media, I had a good time watching it. It was just, it's good, fun.
It is. It still holds up as a very, very solid family comedy.
Yes.
Although it might be one of the ones you might want to watch with an uncle or a dad who's likely to fall asleep during it, so you don't ask too many questions.
No.
Wouldn't put this with any of those young generation Z or the younger people. They'd be all, paedophile this and paedophile that. You know, come on. Nothing wrong with
Back in our day.
Back in our day.
Jesus Christ.
I like that it took us 2 minutes 58, and that includes me and you having a chat before we decided to record to get to widespread blanket paedophilia jokes. So good on us there. So this is actually one of very, very few movies that we've done on Cinema Star that's directed by a woman. This is Penny Marshall who directed this.
Yeah.
It was the first American, I think it's the first movie in the US box office that broke 100 mil, or as we call that, a tall, fat, dirty stack of dimes. It's the first one to break that amount, directed by a woman in the US.
Nice.
I think Mean Girls was directed by a woman, but I'm not sure either of our movies that we've done have actually definitely be directed by a woman.
Not that I can remember.
I'm sure someone will correct us.
Yeah.
That's it. I appreciate when people do that. So we meet Josh. Josh is typical, everyday kind of teenager, just like you and I were if we were born 13 years earlier. Just kind of normal kid, doing normal kid things, like melting wizards and just trying to get out of that ice cave, man. Hey, we've all been there,
That game looks cool. Is that a real game, or is that some kind of fake game?
I would hazard a guess that it's probably a fake game that's heavily based on real games, because them text adventures, I've never actually played a text adventure like that the whole way through.
Me neither.
But I've played a lot of games that have had big homages, like big chunks of the gameplay are, that type of a game. Like even with no visuals, one of the Sam and Max games, they did a whole bit at the end where it was like super virtual reality. The final boss of it was you had to do a text adventure, but there was no visuals. It was literally you just typed in exactly what you wanted to do.
Right.
So, you have to melt the wizard. But melt with what,
Yeah, that's something you only learn when you become an adult for a few fucking weeks.
Where were you? Do you remember where you were when you kind of figured out, now, that's how I melt that pesky old wizard?
I was 26, I was.
Yeah.
And I finally figured it out. I thought, thermal thing. Thermal, what is it?
Thermal thing. Would you look at him?
Thermos flask.
As if butter would melt in his mouth.
You chuck some tea on the wizard, and he gets all melty.
You know what I would say, just broadly speaking, I'd save the hot tea for myself if I'm in that cold environment. Why do you think all those ice wars died of? Exposure. Easy, So he's obviously an idiot, Sam, is what
You
the problem
say that
is here.
as a worldly wise adult man.
That's true. And this is great watching this because I'm exactly 30 now, which means that I'm a great point of reference, I believe. I think I'm very qualified now.
Yeah.
That I'm 30. It's actually good that I'm 30 because I can talk about this movie with an interesting perspective. I've got perspective still.
As long as you feel that.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
It's
good.
And as long as you feel that I feel that, you feel me? It's okay, right? It's all right. So He lives the typical teen hood lifestyle. I'm talking about chores. Gotta take out that smelly old trash.
Ugh.
Talking about bikes. You gotta ride that smelly old bike. Gotta swing that smelly old baseball bat. Talk about a stress-filled environment.
One thing I noticed during this kind of montage of he's a teen boy having a teen time was the music is proper 80s family film. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's full on, like,
Don't need money, don't need fame, don't need great camera. Hey, now it's the power of big, get it, big.
I think we've talked a bit about films with great soundtracks that we've had the pleasure of reviewing. Mm-hmm. I was not blown away by the soundtrack of this film. It feels very kind of average. It feels exactly of its time.
It does, like, in many ways, this movie is kind of like, I accept its status as a classic. However, I would counter that a lot of it is quite kind of almost run-of-the-mill, like, the soundtrack is quite run-of-the-mill. You know, it's kind of, it's very much like Hollywood turned a big wheel and an acceptable family comedy came out, like, not that there's anything
Not
wrong
bad.
with that. No, not bad.
Passable. Serviceable.
Chopsticks shouldn't be the biggest banger on your soundtrack.
But it is a fucking banger, isn't it?
It is. It's a fucking stone cold Bobby Dazzler, mate. I'm telling you, it is. But like, I think it's kind of interesting. Like with this movie, you've got. I said, there's a lot of like body shock movies came out at the same time. That same year, there were two other body shock movies that were released. There was 18 Again, and there was Vice Versa. And the year before, we had Like Father, Like Son. So within 12 months of this movie, there were 3 other American body swap movies.
So it's a popular genre?
What was it about? Is that like the first time anyone thought of this? And it was like a gold rush. Everyone's going down
I
like...
fucking jumped on board with the shit. We can... I don't know.
It's a couple of old producers playing a banjo. What are you guys going? Oh, we're heading down California way. There's a whole mess of body shock comedies coming out, and all the young stars are aligning for us.
Because it's not like there's any specific technological advance that would facilitate this plotline being able to exist. It's not like they have to do some split screen stuff or some CGI stuff. It's literally
Or
just
even-
you cast an adult as a child or you just make them play the other person.
Yeah, and like it's not even like, oh, they've gotten like a... Because I think a lot of the times with the body flip movie genre is they're very obsessed with getting the young talent over and getting the little kiddie who's in there. It's like, this kid's got some fucking chops, like they're going to be a star. And that's why you got, like your Lindsay Lohans and Freaky Fridays and whatnot, where the emphasis is quite on her. Whereas this kid who plays Josh, he's still kicking around doing some acting, like, but it was very much like, get out of here, Josh, you can be good. Let's get Tom Hanks, please.
You know what? I do like that about it, that it's more of a body borrow rather than swap. You know, it's a one-way transaction.
It's all about that Hanks body.
It's all about Hanks.
Yeah, we're getting to Hanks straight away.
We don't get little Josh with big Hanks in him. That sounds terrible.
That's awful, awful stuff.
Yeah, we don't get that thing, but we just get pure Hanks.
And you know what? We got some great supporting characters and great actors in this, don't get me wrong. But I think it goes without saying, like, when we're getting into it here, that Tom Hanks is the fucking, like, this is why this movie is fondly remembered.
He knocks this shit out of the park. It's phenomenal acting. He's great.
You know what? It feels like after this, he did such a good job. It's like, do you want to be the acceptable face of A-list Hollywood for the rest of your life? Yes, please.
Sure thing, yeah.
Give me them gumps.
You know what, Tom? You've earned it.
He did. He did a very good job, He's like the kid who did really well in his first big project. It's like, you know what? You'll just do special work from now on that I'll just give you. And don't worry about this other shite that the others are doing, all right? You get on with the special project that's just for you. Huh? And then you can make Band of Brothers, and your son can be in it as well, huh? So he's totally got the hots for Cynthia, who I remember when I watched as a kid, like, oh yeah, Cynthia, she's a big character. No, never.
No.
And there's no like kind of, oh, now that I have the benefit of a month of man, that I can get the big client in Cynthia and land her for my date business. No.
Doesn't really come back to her, does it?
No, we get introduced to Billy, his little dirtbag friend.
Yeah.
Who immediately, I'll be honest, Sam, I was on tender hooks in this movie. I was very, very like, that's wrong, or that's wrong, or he's a wrong. And when Billy went, oh, Cynthia, can you imagine how lucky her brother is? How did he get such a hot sister?
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know.
Sam, now.
Okay.
All I'll say is,
Yeah.
now,
Now.
isn't it? Well, Billy. Now, they sing the Triscuit song.
They do sing the Triscuit song. It's a little rap, isn't it? Almost.
Triscuits and gravy, maybe a man.
I want a Triscuit, eating a biscuit. I don't know all the words to the Triscuit and biscuit.
Wait a minute, these aren't... That's right, son. I got you Triscuits. Grab a pack of Triscuits now. Don't be a lame kid.
Do you know any of the Triscuit song? Like I don't know any of it. I can't. I thought it might be fun to try and recite it, but I only remember the word Triscuit and the word biscuit.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know what a Triscuit is, Sam. So
I don't even know what a biscuit is. Yeah.
That's more your problem than
Biscuits
mine, you know.
for breakfast.
Well, like, Triscuit, right? Oh, and okay, now, biscuit for breakfast, I understand. That's the American biscuit, which is like a buttery scone type, or I'll say it in Protestant, a buttery scone type
Thank you.
It's okay, it's all right. And we can have some yogurt with that, so we can. But I thought about this for a second, right? Triscuit, implying three, a three-pronged... biscuit. Now, biscuit, it's got two ends in it, like one side and the other. So, biscuit, a monoskit would be some sort of, I don't know, hypothetical. Like, is an Oreo is technically, it's not a biscuit, it's a monoskit, because it's only one side, because it's a circle.
Right, yeah.
Oval biscuits as well could be monoskits.
Monoskits.
Yeah.
Biscuits. Triscuits.
Quadskits.
Quadriscuits.
Someone save me some sepsits already. I'm hungry.
No, you don't want to have sepsits, mate. That sounds bad for you.
I want some nonoskits, but I guess I'll just have 3 packs of Triskits. It's okay, Mom. I know you didn't get the right brand. It's okay. Does this movie, and every movie of its time, and every would-be TV show masquerading as anything other than just a collection of scenes from movies of this time, misrepresent the use of walkie-talkies? Or is it just some sort of, like, cool walkie-talkie fucking club gang that I never got to take part in, that didn't happen in Ireland for some fucking reason? I did the tree house, I fucking played pretend, I did all this shit that you did as a kid, and I got walkie-talkies, but it's like, hey, I'll have a walkie-talkie and you can be 15 feet away and also use a walkie-talkie. What's this bedroom nonsense? Who are they, Nokia? This is absurd.
It's very convenient that Billy lives next door to Josh here. They're within range. They
do 4-way calls in some of these movies, Sam.
Yeah, it's bollocks, isn't it?
I can't even do that on an actual phone. How do you do that with a walkie-talkie when you're 9? Or whatever the fuck. You know who this is, Sam? You know who this is?
What?
No, you can try and stop me. It's Big Walkie-Talkie who are calling the shots. Again, pumping the fucking movie and the Hollywood bullshit factory, yeah? Churning out the lies for
Maybe
Big Walkie-Talkie.
it is, actually, because they do really sell the idea of walkie-talkies in a lot of films.
Loads!
And when you're a kid, you really fucking want a walkie-talkie because you're like, I could just talk to my friends wherever they are, and that's not how it works.
For you and me, that would have been 10 years later, and the technology
did not come on.
Yeah, unless it was like the .com industry where walkie-talkies just collapsed in like the mid to late 90s, and you and I were like, oh, there's no walkie-talkies that work anymore. But it was really going for it in the late 80s.
I feel like at some point you bought me a walkie-talkie, or I bought you a walkie-talkie, or we had some kind of walkie-talkie thing.
And they didn't work.
They didn't fucking work, did they?
No.
You
know what we should have gotten? We should have gotten 2 cans of Pepsi Max with some string.
Would have worked wonders compared to those fucking walkie-talkies.
Would have gotten us that sponsorship as well. Like,
don't mention that.
An innovative, mate-oriented use of our product that you've come up with, guys. So, it's the 80s, so you gotta go with your parents to the carnival. And, Josh is a bit of a wimp here. He's too scared to go on some of the rides, or at least his parents reckon he's too scared. He gets wimpy on the big strong machine, you know?
I was going to say, there's actual evidence that he's a wimp based on his level of strength. He hits it, wimpy, a big bloke comes up next, ding, 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 ding. So Josh is a little dweeby wimp.
Shouldn't they go to him? Like, because he gets turned away from a big boy ride. It's like, it's not a big boy ride. It's like a sledgehammer for a man or a full-grown woman, like an adult, to swing that thing. You can't be like, you know, that is, it's the old, be kind of like, let's keep the young down and have him with a pop at this and be, oh, look, you're weak. You'll never overthrow us.
Yeah, I mean, with that in mind, I'd be much stronger than that wimpy little kid. So I'm happy for that sort of thing to exist. So I can feel better than a little dweeb boy.
As long as you and I, self-confidence-wise, are riding a wave that's slightly above a 13-year-old child, I think we'll be all right, like.
Have you ever done one of those hammer strength test things?
No, I've done a Big Bop Punch one.
I've never done any of those kind of things because I was always petrified that, like, I'm not going to be strong, so I'm just not going to do it, and then there won't be evidence that I'm weak.
Well, Sam, you're going at the rookie approach to a day at the fair, right? What you do is you go and you do the Gooden Alley first, and you win the big cuddly toy, so you've literally nothing left to prove.
Right.
So it's kind of like you do it, lap of honor. You don't do it. It's like, well, he had the big cuddly toy, so, he's more of a marksman than a brute, He's an archer, this one. They got sick dino hats. I think I'd go to any fair that offered a free dinosaur hat.
Yeah, I'd love a dino hat.
Fucking beautiful. Yeah. So he's told that he's too short to ride the big ride, and you know what? He's only been in the movie for around about 10 minutes, and I feel the straw that broke the camel's back was very, very quick. Like, straight away, he's like, that's it, magic, I'm going to the dark arts.
The thing is, he also pushed to the front of the queue, to the middle of the queue to try and be next to Cynthia, to have a chat with her, and then go on the big scary ride on his own. Right? And she was like, oh, you're here on your own? Because that's cool when you're a child, being on your own.
Being a lone wolf.
He's like, yeah, I'm on my own. And then his bloody dorky parents like, hiya, Josh, taking a fun photo. That's embarrassing enough. And then he gets told he's too small. And also
by a chicken as well. Literally a chicken is like, sorry, buddy.
Cynthia at one point is like, oh, this is Darren, this big fucking, like, big lad comes up.
Yeah, he can drive.
Drives. All right.
This is Darren. He's got a fucking mortgage and 3 kids.
So if we add up all this level of embarrassment here, there's the Darren factor, there's the mum and dad factor, there's the too short for the ride factor. We've got a trifactor here.
Are you telling me we got a trifactor of factors?
We've got a trifactor of factor triscuits. And you know what? 3 straws are enough to break this camel's back, all right? I think he's, justified in being upset about being a little kid.
I can't say I relate.
No?
No, because he goes off, he finds my main man Zoltar, and he says the famous line, he says, I wish I were big, so I do, he says. And he gets a nice little calling card from him saying, oh, your wish is granted. Now, obviously, Zoltar is a demonic force, and I really wish that the movie went a little bit more into the canon of Zoltar.
Yeah.
What type of a demon is he? Is he a blood demon? Is he an agent of chaos? What type of demon is Zoltar who preys on little boys like this?
He's a plot device demon who furthers what would be a difficult bit of the plot to explain otherwise.
How would you reckon if you were up to it? It's like, right, Sam, got a classic body shock drama scenario here where or a family comedy even, where we're setting up a similar, like, kid becomes man, boys to men, that type of a scenario that we got going on. Boys to Men obviously very heavily influenced by this movie Big.
Yeah.
What would be your plot device, assuming that Zoltar and all haunted carnival rides are off limits?
Right, so my child character would fall into a grown-up lake.
A vat of grown-up acid, like.
And re-emerge as a grown-up out of the grown-up lake.
What would the grown-up lake look like?
Just really, like, grey, and it would be like lukewarm water. And
actually, so if it's lukewarm water,
that'd be quite nice.
Quite nice, actually. Although it's not bad being a grown-up at sometimes. You do get to go to as many ball games as you want.
Yeah, you do. I think what Josh should have said here was just, I wish I was specifically tall enough to ride on that ride.
I wish I was a little bit taller, Zoltar. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl with a phone. I would call her. And Zoltar's like, man, I got a storage. You like to be Tom Hanks, you naughty little boy, eh? Go on, sunshine. That's what I'd do. I'd have a very aggressive Cockney man be like, you want to be a big boy, sunshine? Come on, hey? And he's got like the body of Tom Hanks, like, you want to be in there, eh? Come on, mate, yeah, get in there. Get your soul in there. And then he does.
Just holding up a limp Tom Hanks body.
Yeah, exactly. We've all got plot devices, Penny Marshall. Okay, some of us are just a little bit more aggressive in our use of them than others. Do you know this movie was originally written by Steven Spielberg's sister?
Oh.
Anne Spielberg. And apparently it was originally written, Anne Spielberg wrote it with the idea that Steven Spielberg would direct it. And can you guess who he was going to cast as Big Boy Josh, who we're just about to see? Think hard back to the one or two Spielberg movies we've watched.
Oh God, my heart just wants to say Arnold Schwarzenegger because it's funny.
That'd be the best movie ever.
Has he done a body swap movie, Arnie?
I mean, Junior, technically. I mean, he
Right.
gets pregnant, so it's like his body is
That's-
shocked in a
yeah.
different scenario.
I don't know who was he going to cast.
Harrison Ford.
Oh, of course he was going
Harrison
to cast
Ford.
Harrison.
And then, yeah, they turned it down for whatever reason. They couldn't do it. And they asked Tom Hanks, and he said no. And then a whole slew of other people were originally attached to this movie. So there was Sean Penn was meant to be in it at one point, but he was
Okay.
deemed to be too young looking. He looked like too much like a boy man and not a man boy. Gary Busey auditioned for it. And apparently, the producers were not confident enough in Mr. Busey's ability to play an adult.
Were they not? Okay.
No, they weren't. They wasn't what the role called for. And then it was going to be Big Match De Niro, Robbie De Niro, okay? But of course, Robbie De Niro, what does he want? His namesake. He wanted Mucho De Niro. It was $6 million for a Sweet Bobby D. And they
Right.
said, that's too much money. So, he was literally going to do it because he wanted to be in a family-friendly movie. He said no. He walked away. And then Tom Hanks went, oh, well, if Sweet Bobby D says, not for me, then surely it'll be the thank to get Tom Hanks.
T. Hanks.
He did it then. He went back into the supplicant door and they're like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be the man.
Well, I'm
boy."
glad that worked out because I'm glad he's in it.
You wake up straight in the morning and you get like one of the most iconic and best scenes in the movie, which is Tom Hanks in his he's in in a child's underwear,
Yes.
running around, looking at his dick, and
Yep.
it's just good, clean fun.
Yeah, it's just his big legs stick out from the top of the bunk beds. That's funny. None of his clothes fit apart from his pants, which is good.
Yes, good stretchy material,
Ooh,
those boys.
Glad they fit. Yeah, he checks out the dick. It's presumably like, oh, I've got an adult's dick now. Great. Like, I don't know. Like, he doesn't have time to react to that.
Yeah, he just kind of, that's
his mum
another thing
shouts
I
at
have to
him.
deal with, and the mum's shouting at him, so it's kind of like, you know what, I'm going to deal all this later. But it's a good thing, isn't it? He gets all of his clothes, he zips out without the parents even noticing that he's gone. And it's a good thing that he gets on the bike, and it's a very good thing, because riding a bike is pretty much like riding the train. You never forget how to do it, no matter how old you may be.
Now, during this scene where he's kind of running around trying on clothes, trying to avoid his mum and get away with just being a grown-up all of a fucking sudden, there's some very jaunty music, right?
Seinfeld acid trip is how I
It's
describe
proper
the music
slap
here.
bass kind of thing. Now, if you put some quite scary, tense music on this, I think that would also fit the scene.
Yeah, you could definitely make this movie a horror movie, unquestionably.
This scene is played a bit for yucks, but also, if you think about what's happening in that child's brain, that's terrifying. To actually wake up and be an adult man and try and work out what the fuck you do now.
There's sometimes people get the thing where they literally feel like they want to like tear off their skin and escape from their body. Like they
Yeah.
feel like their body's not even theirs. It's not a very nice thing. And how am I going to explain this bit? You know, it's a very very much played for the wax and whatnot. But I mean, I guess it's a family comedy, isn't it? And at least they didn't go with the original idea where they wanted to turn him into a fully grown adult woman. That was something that they wanted to do, and they reckoned, no, let's not do that because the director said it would be a bit Playboy hustler fantasy-esque.
Yes, I can see how that could, no.
Lads, we're already in the muddiest fucking waters possible.
Yeah.
Get away with that bucket of mud.
Now, when I was saying about how this shouldn't be played for yucks, it can be. And he goes to his dad's room, gets some clothes from his dad, I think. And he puts on a Giants hoodie.
I didn't get that. It's good, isn't it?
Because he's big.
Well, I support the Toronto Bigs, and I would have figured that he would have went with those lads, but whatever. Giants, you know, they can't play the ball. They can't play it, Sam, you know? They can't even pick it up.
He heads off to where the fair was, right?
The litter, did you see it?
The amount of litter. Disgraceful.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But the fair ain't there.
Yeah, the
No mayor.
It's not fair as the fair ain't there. Zoltar has hitched a ride. See you later, bye. Zoltar's bit the dust. And then he goes back to try and explain to his mom, but she's like, yeah, you're a home invader, which is the worst crime. Like, so
I'm going to threaten you with a knife.
I'm very glad that happened, because I, for some reason, thought that there was going to be a scene where it's like she saw him in his underpants and she's like, well, hello. You know,
well, hello.
Invading my home, are you? You know, I'm going to have sex with my son. What do you think about that, Hollywood? Like,
yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. He does chuck in some like specific knowledge about himself that only he would know. But his mum is still like, no, that's not my son.
The movie makes it abundantly clear that this is not about the parents and their trauma. This is very much like when Kevin got left behind in the ball pit in one of those Thunder Zone type places. This isn't about the parents and their obvious massive worry. This is about Kevin getting some solid ball time right here, okay? This is a fun adventure is what it is. Don't worry about the tears of the grown adults that are flowing like wine.
Yeah, we do get minimum mum time in this film, don't we? We don't get much of her being like, where's my son?
She's been in a bunch of things. I recognise her from a load of movies at the time. Like, she's fabulous, and she's barely in it all. The dad doesn't seem to give much of a shit, like...
I don't remember seeing the dad.
No, he's kind of gone. I was wondering if it was like kind of a George McFly situation going on here. Billy gets a trial by fire. It's like, prove yourself worthy of being friends with a man boy. He makes him cry. And how does he win the trust? Simple, mate. Triscuits.
Triscuits. Biscuits. Done.
If you had to do that, you would have been screwed. Your child friend wouldn't have saved you.
I'd have been like, Triscuit and biscuit. Going to... biscuit.
That's so true. You teach me and I'll teach you. I'm still a boy. Please help me.
Billy tells me he looks terrible, which is quite funny.
He does. He looks pretty rubbish for...
He doesn't look terrible. He looks like Hollywood actor Tom Hanks.
Yeah, but if you're 13 and you're looking like Hollywood actor Tom Hanks, that's a rubbish 13-year-old right there.
Oh, yeah, no. For a 13-year-old, that's not good.
There's a word we have, he's been left in too long is what's happened. He's overdone this one.
Right.
So they decide to abandon his family.
Yeah, at this point, this is an amazing piece of plot here. Billy's like, well, we just need to go to New York now. Just need to go to the big city.
That's where problems get solved, in the big smoke.
But why, Billy? Why? Well, we'll be able to find Zoltar in New York. Okay, off we go to New York.
Billy's a bit of a dodgy customer, isn't he? He gets his dad's credit card in his wallet, and I think he's using this man boy for his own sinister and nefarious ends, for his crimes. And you know what? They go to New York, and it starts off, it's all like, bananas, Big Apple, start spreading the apples.
Yeah.
And then it becomes Warriors, and then very quickly after that, it becomes the dark period in New York in the 70s the Warriors is based off of.
So Josh is walking around, adult man Tom Hanks Josh, with little child Billy here. And there's some prostitutes, like, propositioning Josh while he's with an actual child. It seems like they're trying to load a lot of, like, this bit of New York is quite scary into one go. Because it's like, homeless guy asking for change, prostitutes being like, hey, you want to have some good time, shit hotel. It's like, oh, we're in New York here. We're in a tiny bit of New York.
And when they're in that shit hotel, which is, I think, almost definitely the exact hotel from the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
When they go in, like, he's there. He's this very suspicious-looking man with a little boy. And a guy walks past and gives him a look as in, another paedophile. Like, he gives him that kind of knowing, like, oh, you two, God. And I found that deeply upsetting and also very indicative of the obvious feelings that the director and producers had about the city of New York at the time.
Yeah, no one really seems too suspicious of this situation. I mean, it could be that, like, hey, this guy's here with his kid. But they're checking
He's here with his
into
kid,
that
let's
fucking
proposition him, like, you know, come on.
dump of a hotel.
I will say the whole time, though, and I think it's right that we take a few moments now and then to appreciate him, right? But Tom Hanks, like, how is he this good? Because, like, he's talking like a kid talked at that time. Like, when he was a kid in, like, I don't know, when it was the 50s or 60s or whenever, kids didn't talk like that. They didn't have that, like, they didn't have that kind of vibe to them. And he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
In that I actually think there's a small part of me that believes that Tom Hanks, like, this is all actually real, what happened here. This is how... Yeah. Can you name a Tom Hanks movie before Big?
No.
No, you can't. And that's why he's the only one in Hollywood that everyone trusts, because he's actually just a young boy who's got nothing to hide in a grown man's body.
Are we saying that there was no Tom Hanks before this?
Well, prove me wrong. I'm not going to look it up. Like, I'm doing a podcast. But as far as I'm concerned... The alternative facts speak for themselves.
Yeah. When they go to this hotel, it's $17.50 for a night. I mean,
pretty reasonable.
Is this a travel lodge? Because that's some pretty sweet value.
It is 1988.
Oh, yeah, that'll be it. That'll be it.
You
It'll
know,
be
so-
inflation, won't it? Hanks is acting here, as you say. It's fantastic. The bit where
Fabulous.
he's, like, left in a scary hotel room in a big city on his own, his friend's got to go. He sells that childlike fear and worry and just being left on your own in an unknown situation, not knowing what to do and being just shit scared. He nails it. It's perfect. That is a child. It's like...
That, like, literally that exact scene there, and it's so powerful. And it's like, you know what, straight away I saw that, I was like, yeah, I've been there. There was, like, a time where I really thought I would never beat the Elite Four. Like, ever. And then, like, there was one time I did, and then the Gary comes back again?
Yeah.
Like, what more do you want? I'm 13. Boom. The tears, the clutching the pillow, the sleep cry. We've all been there.
It's genuinely upsetting, isn't it, to watch?
Very
this?
genuinely upsetting.
Yeah.
So they search for Zoltar. They're very, very good kids. Like, they know this shit, like.
They're really thorough. They know what to fucking do. Billy is quite good with his organisation here. He's like, okay, we're going to go to all the arcades. We're going to go to all the fairs. We're going to go to some offices that will know where the fairs are. Like, how do they fucking know this? There was no Google back then. These kids just fucking know what they're doing. I'm impressed.
I think the modern version of this would be just the person staring at their penis for like the next 6 weeks and then like, you know, eventually becoming homeless or something upsetting like that. But yeah, these kids got figured out, you know?
Yeah.
Except, when I said they got figured out, except for the concept of time. Because Josh goes, oh man, I'm going to be 30 the rest of my life. No, that's the terrible thing about getting 30. You won't be. You'll be 31 and then older than that, like. If I was going to be 30 the rest of my life, I'd be like, yeah, all right, yeah. If that was the Zoltar swap, it's like, you know what, you can miss ages 12 to 30, but you got to be 30 the rest of your life. I'd actually consider that.
Yeah, we don't know how the Zoltar curse or gift or wish works. If Josh had stayed big for years, we don't know if he would have aged. He might have just remained 30-year-old Tom Hanks for the rest of his existence.
Can you imagine the awards he would have won if he was peak Hanks the whole time? Like,
Whole time for the rest of his life.
yes, you're not going to get powerhouse performances in Captain Phillips, but other people could have stepped up to the plate.
Oh, if Tom Hanks had just stayed... If actual Tom Hanks had stayed 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I you know what? I thought that the Tom Hanks in this he looked a bit younger than 30 to me.
He always had that boyish charm,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I don't know, it's hard to tell with Hanks. He's one of those guys that he slipped into being an older man like a nice pair of slippers. Like, it's like, yeah, consistency, you still look exactly the same. You look great for your age, but also I accept your age. I'm not like, you're not, 60-something. Yeah, you are, but that's a great looking 60-year-old there. Good job, mate. Good job.
Yeah, but he looks pretty
like a
youthful in
30-year-old
this.
man in a 60-year-old man's body is what it is. There's something to Zoltar's curse. Why don't they reveal any more of it? Because they don't want Tom's secrets to come out into the open, That's why. Go on a job search and get yourself an interview lined up at Macmillan Toys.
The fact that their solution to this is like, get a job.
Yeah, gotta wait 6 weeks to get the paperwork.
What are we going to do in the meantime? Well, get a job. Like, these kids are like quite smart, but also stupid.
They're smarter than most of the adults I know. Like, I need to find somewhere to live and get a job. It's definitely like, that's something that a lot of people in their 20s do struggle with.
Yeah.
It's good on you. The work ethic of this child.
I feel like I've done a lot worse than Josh did in about 6 weeks. Like, he's nailed adulthood while being a 13-year-old boy for a few weeks.
Yeah, like Josh and Billy are going to be pretty much like big wheels when they're proper adults.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
I would reckon they would be. So they lie on the application a little bit to they juice it up a little bit. They duke the stats on the CV. What is the biggest lie you've ever told on your curriculum vitae?
That I'm a confident communicator.
I'm a confident communicator, and I'm confident and communicative.
Yes. I think anything where I've just sort of said that I do well in pressured situations, or that I work well in a team, or anything like that. Like, the actual stuff about jobs I've done, I've never really lied about, but stuff where it's like personal qualities, I'm like bullshitting the whole time.
I fucked up a job interview once so bad. Like, it was I swear I thought I was a shoe in the job. It was like the first jobs I applied for after I got my master's, and it was going okay, the interview, and I was pretty damn well qualified for it. And then it was one of those 3 out of 1 interviews, and they go, "What's your biggest weakness?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got this one sorted. I'm not going to like lie about it." I go, "I'm quite stubborn? And straight away the rooms went, excuse me? Like, the temperature dropped. They're like, you're stubborn. I go, yeah, in that I'll fight my corner, and that I'll, if I'm wrong about something, I won't admit that I'm wrong unless someone really can prove to me. Please hire me.
Kevin, under weaknesses, you put asthma. Like, it was good.
So they get the job immediately. He's great at this.
Yeah, I've written in my notes, he gets the job, like exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. Because he's wearing his little cobbled together suit. The boss is talking to him about, like,
computers
George Washington
and such, yeah.
Did you pledge every morning because of the Pledge of Allegiance? Another solid gag. But yeah, he gets the job. He gets a job based on a CV of lies, a social security number that doesn't work. I mean, a lot of this film, put under real scrutiny from someone like me, falls to pieces here.
It does, and I think it's them out-of-touch Hollywood elites who think, why don't you just walk in off the street and just lie and you'll get a job, like, at a top company.
Maybe in Hollywood that sort of shit flies. We're not in the real world of toy companies, right?
Holy shit, are you saying in Hollywood they don't check references?
No.
Oh, mate, let's move to Hollywood.
Charisma, character,
chutzpah,
Trisket,
spunk. Yeah, all those qualities.
All those qualities.
So the company he's working for is Macmillan Toys, which owns FAO Schwarz, which is a legitimate toy shop in New York, and it's a fabulous place.
Macmillan, I'm
not sure about Macmillan, but FAO Schwarz definitely is real.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Because I've been there. It's like, I felt like a kid in a toy store, and I was an adult at the time. So that was like, job well done, guys. But all these top toy executives, they're out of touch. And Rob Lowe is like, oh, these guys, they don't know how to make toys anymore. Where are the fucking toys from when I was a kid? You're gonna tell me that you don't know what toys are gonna sell in my fucking toy shop? It's very good. A lot of Sopranos alum in this movie. James is the dirty cop that kills himself.
He is, yeah, I recognise him for that. He's also the dad from Home Alone, isn't he?
He is, yes.
Yeah.
What a career, like, he had. He just plays all the not quite wrong enough to be arrogant, but just not a good person.
Yeah.
Josh rings his mum and essentially does a kidnap phone call to kind of calm her down. He's like, your son is okay. We're just, going to keep him for, like, I don't know, a month. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. Can you sing me a song? And she starts crying and...
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, he's just ringing to say that he's okay. He has to pretend to be a kidnapper to do it.
You know what he should have done, Sam? The one ring. That's what he should have done. Just one ring is all he should have done. She would have known he's okay then.
When you think about it, it's really bleak, isn't it?
It is. It's very
really sad. It's a weird phone call to have to make as a child, to process this and to think about this and to plan this whole, like, I've got to pretend to be someone who's looking after me because I can't convince my mum that I am me. So I have to talk about myself in the third. It's just like, it's a lot of pressure for him.
Yeah, and where are the police? Like, I was meant to go off for the police and go, no, I'm pretty sure there was something with the cops at some point, but there isn't. Why didn't they track the call?
Trace the call to the fucking toy factory or whatever.
Yeah, like, he's not that hard to find, Come on.
But then they'd find adult Josh, and they'd be like, where's the kid? And they'd be like, well, I am the kid. And they're like, no, you're not answering the question properly. Where's the child? And it would just, I don't know what you'd do then as a police officer.
Sam, it's fucking pussyfooting around like this is why Zoltar is out on the street. And he's in the wind, Sam. Zoltar is in the wind at the moment, and he's not gonna get found.
I think if I was the police, I'd just come to that office and arrest John Lovitz's character.
For telling him not to work hard.
Yeah, and being like, that woman over there will have her legs around you so fast and so tight that we begging for mercy. And again, Josh does this little, well, I'll stay away from her then. He's a child, he doesn't understand. Hey, it's a fun joke. But it was quite funny in a way.
It's the funniest joke about a child not getting, like, a sex thing that's been, like, really put in his, like, hey, a sex thing. I don't know. It's good clean fun. He goes to FAO Schwarz. For the attention of Schwarz, your line of hair dye is apparently very good quality. Gets good ratings on Amazon. So that's my FAO Schwarz joke. Thank you very much. He meets the boss in the toy shop, and the boss straight away is like, this fucking guy knows about toys.
This boss guy, the actor.
Yeah.
What's he from?
Sopranos.
Oh, okay. Is he in other stuff?
He is. He's in loads of fucking... Yeah. I'm pretty sure... He might even be in Goodfellas. Hang on a second. Let me check. He's in Billion Dollar Movie as well.
I think that might be what I recognise him from the most.
I think it is, yeah.
I spent $1 billion on this.
This piece of shit, I'm gonna rip off their fucking heads. He's in Malcolm in the Middle, he's in Sopranos, $1 billion movie, he's in Independence Day, greatest story ever told, Lost Highway with David Lynch. So yeah, I think those are the kind of the main ones. Sopranos is the one that I thought you would have known him for. He's kind of one of those guys who always gets cast as a scary wise guy, and he got booed off the Sopranos. He's going to be a much bigger character, but apparently he was a nightmare to deal with on set. Like, he kept like doing his own lines and like, I think my character should do this instead. Like, what the fuck, man? You're not act, like, you know?
I don't really remember him in Sopranos. Maybe I need to take another watch of Sopranos.
You know, the start of the season where a lot of the old boys get released from jail, like a lot of the old kind of the guys from the 80s. Yeah. And he's one of the guys who Tony is like, he's going to be trouble. So he arranges for his parole officer to come and arrest him because he's got like TVs. He does like all these jobs against his will. Yeah. But he's pretty intense. And he's like, you want to fucking show to me you can do toys? You go and you dance on this fucking piano right now. I want you to fucking dance till your shoes fill with blood, you fucking son of a bitch. I want to taste it. And he does. They go, you can play piano, can't you?
Not very well, but, you know, I know my way around those keys a little bit.
You know a way around the tinkly ivories?
Yeah.
How would you do on a big
piano?
I was going to say it's something better than a big piano, but that is what it's a big piano. How would you do on a big piano that can only be operated by your feet?
There's no special word for it, Kevin. It's a big piano. It's just a big old fucking piano.
I was going to say, it's a grand piano, but that's a different thing as well, isn't it?
You know, is that one of your Irish
grand old
things?
Piano.
It's grand. I don't know. I think I'd be more suited to a big guitar.
That you play with your feet, like jumping up and down on it, like.
Yeah, I'd stand on like a chord shape, and then I'd get someone else. It'd be like Twister. You'd have to lie down over several different strings, and then someone else would have to strum.
And then you're like lying on it, and it's like, my chest and torso are bleeding. They'll callous up. Swish, stop it.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
You want to play proper guitar like a pro.
I think playing the big old piano would be genuinely very difficult. So I'm quite impressed by how they managed to string together a couple of songs there.
Well, apparently, this originally was going to be done by hired dancers. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this guy. He's such a fucking psychopath. He comes across in these movies. But apparently, he got wind that they were going to have dancers do it for them, and he went up to Tom Hanks. He's like, "Can you fucking believe they're gonna have these fucking paisans come in here and fucking dance? We're gonna fucking do it." And the two of them, they did it in one take. Apparently, they just said it. They're like, "Yo, fucking roll it." Bam, bam, bam. Professionals. They did madly. They did fucking chopsticks. No fucking complaints, no second takes. Take your fucking dancers and take them back to the dance hall, yeah?
See, I think that is actually fantastic. Because, it's them doing it, you can see that. But also, it's not perfect.
No,
it's a bit
it's just
shaky.
Perfect enough.
But that's natural, that's what would happen. You know, even if they're great pianists, they're not going to be able to play it with their feet. And now this scene, this sequence, this whole thing, and I'm not dicking around or joking here, is genuinely really great, enjoyable and fun and just lovely to watch. Good night.
And that's like we should always have a moment in the podcast like I should have broke your thumbs where conceivably you could have ended it there and people would have felt yeah. You know, they feel like some element of resolution. Yeah. Can you imagine the dicks who come to FAO Schwartz to do that now?
Oh, there's going to be loads of them, isn't there?
Yeah, like, go the way, children. I want to do the dance from the paedophile movie. Grow up. Yeah.
Oh, is it still there, the big piano?
As far as I know, it is. I think when I was there, I was one of those things that I was told, you can go there, but there's so many people are going to want to do that. Like, you won't get to, your hour is better spent looking at the cool toys in the toy shop.
Yeah, rather than queuing to play on the piano.
Yeah, because it's like Hamleys in that there's loads of people going, wow, and it's quite accurate how they're here where they go around and they're playing with loads of the toys. It's great. Like, I did feel like, as I said, a kid in some sort of store when I was there. It was fabulous. And it goes well for him because he gets bumped up to VP.
Of product development, yeah.
An ambitious young man right there, Sam.
He gets a sweet office. He gets to play with toys as his job.
And at what point do we stop wishing well for this young man and start resenting his easy path to the top? He didn't have to struggle through the fucking long dark 20s. He didn't have to do any of the shit. It was just, fucking stickball and teachers' blouses. And now it's fucking VP of product development. He didn't even go to fucking school.
We're feeling a lot like Home Alone Dad here. And they were like, where did this guy come from? What's his deal? He didn't have to work hard. Who is he? What's going on?
What's his MO, you know?
Yeah.
How many big toy companies secretly use 12-year-olds trapped in 30-year-old men's bodies to keep their ideas fresh.
All of them.
Like, I think if you go to Mattel or Hasbro, and behind the closed door, there's going to be weird goblin people, like in Akira, I think, just sitting there kind of going, you should make more Bratz dolls. Blum, 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 blum. You know, something like that. I don't think there's something suspicious there. Josh rips apart the world's worst Dragon's Den presentation. He rips it to shreds. These Build-O-Bots, I am Team Josh all the way. These things fucking suck.
It's a building and a robot. I mean, it's a shit presentation, isn't it? If I was Duncan Bannatyne here, I'd be oot, you know. I'm not investing.
I'm oot. Like, I'm straight oot with this, like, you know.
Like, Josh is quite fairly saying, why? Why is that fun that it's a building?
He does take more of a Theo Batista's line of questioning than a Duncan. You know, unquestionably Duncan is out, and I think Duncan would be out in that really aggressive way that he is, where he's like, I'm out and so's Deborah. She's like, but I haven't. No, you are.
Yeah.
I say, you know, Duncan, you're not coming back for season 17 if you keep it up. And where is he now? Where is he now? Probably in a fine Bannatyne's establishment. But he does. He goes for the Theo Baffi. It's like, he said nothing the whole time. Then he's like, you're a great guy, and you know your stuff, but how is it fun, you know? What's the kid going to want to do with a building?
That cuts deepest, doesn't it?
What would a kid want to do with a building? Like, honestly, if you had a building toy as a kid, would you play with it?
No. Not playing with a building.
Boring.
What am I?
I might as well get Lego Technic or some shit, like.
Yeah. But where's Josh's pitch of a robot that turns into a bug?
He invents Beast Wars, Sam. He invents Beast Wars.
And everyone goes like, holy shit, yeah, that's a great idea.
And a Beast Wars, by the way, even though I think it would have been just, maybe either just after your time or peak your time.
Yeah.
Say what you will about Beast Wars, but Beast Wars provided a much-needed second jump of energy for the Transformers franchise to stay relevant and keep making those toys until the people who liked them originally in the 80s were old enough to keep buying them in their 30s. So that is a cornerstone of the beloved Transformers franchise. And again, it's a very industrious young man, isn't he? Isn't it? Well, for some, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gets a new apartment, new digs. And I think Billy's parents must be degenerates because he's just here all the time hanging out with this fucking man.
Yeah, I think he says like, oh, just say I'm at basketball or something. And I'm like, that's not going to hold for that long, that you just keep going to New York.
He went back himself that first night, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, I have to go home now because it's my parents. Like, and there's like out into where the arguments were at the prostitutes on his own.
Yeah.
Billy's going to be lucky to make it to 30 with the way he's going. This is like kind of at the end of Stand By Me, like Billy died in 24 years old. He was in a bar fight in New York City. He was just trying to get home to basketball.
So when Josh kind of rips apart Home Alone Dad, I can't remember his name, it's like Paul or something. I think it's Paul.
James.
He rips apart his presentation. And afterwards, I realised that this guy is basically Frank Grimes. And Josh is Homer Simpson here. Just wandering in, just going, make them into a bug. He just says bugs, and everyone goes fucking crazy.
Childlike innocence will always win out. Like,
It will.
absolutely. That's what this movie's main thrust is. It's that the intangible it factor that makes this child irresistible to adults in all walks of life, be they romantic and otherwise, is his childlike innocence. Which at the start is like, cool, I get that. But then we get to the big corpo bash, and Susan's hitting on him, Sam, and it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, John Lovitz is there saying "smell my neck" to a lady. I just want to make sure that's on the record here, that his line is "smell my neck." But
Has he got a smelly neck, do you reckon?
smell my neck. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, I know. What do you think that is? Like, should I go to a doctor or something?
Run that neck under a hot tap.
Yeah.
Is what you should do.
Well, I you know what? I kind of understand Susan getting a bit flirtatious here, because Josh shows up in such a cool suit.
Yeah, he's dressed like a ringmaster from heaven.
And it's great. You know, I love it. John, love it.
You saw someone with the actual soul and mind of a 13-year-old just dressed up nice. That's your line then, that's it, is it?
No, what?
No, it's fine. It's all right.
Jesus Christ. All right, no, what I'm saying...
He's asking for is that what you're saying?
No, it's not about what he's wearing. It's that, look, if we take it as read that he is, in her estimation, an adult, right, then it is quite brave to wear a suit like that. And that bravery might be appealing.
Sam, you really sound like,
Your Honour.
Or, yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you sound like the long shot, really good lawyer who's doing this case pro bono. You know, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard all manner of evidence here today, but I want to ask you something. In the eyes of this woman, he was no more than a 30-year-old man. No, it's good. It's very, very convincing. Very convincing.
He eats baby corn like big corn, and that's a very funny, solid gag.
It's also a terrible way to eat corn, objectively.
Oh, it's terrible, but...
He hates beluga caviar and eats corn like a twerp. This kid is, cooking-wise, is a savage.
Him being grossed out by caviar is the thing that makes... Well, it's probably not the thing, but, like, from that, she goes, hey, you want to get out of here? I'm like... That's what it takes, just to be like, this caviar is disgusting, I'm spitting it out everywhere. But I think it's something to do with the level of confidence, the level of just not caring.
So you think it's the shame, the lack of shame?
I think the lack of shame is appealing. I'm trying to figure out why she...
This whole time, though, this whole day, right, it feels really weird and awkward, because it's like, she feels like it's her directive and she has to seduce him, right? But she looks like she's having a miserable time the whole way, where she's literally, like, at the point where he spit at the caviar, she's like, fuck it, let's just go, and, you know, we'll go in the limo.
Hold on. Is she deliberately trying to seduce him for some... special reason?
Yeah, because I think she wants to figure out, because her and James are like, where has he come from? Has he come from Mattel? Has he come from Big Toy? Like, you know?
This is like a fact-finding mission at first.
It's a fact-finding seduction, yes.
Right, okay. But
it's definitely a seduction, the end game of which is facts, and it's been established that she will at least consider sleeping with him, because he kind of says, it does come out, it's kind of like, oh, you know, I do want to sleep with you and whatnot. But she's she doesn't want to do it. Like, I think in her mind she'd be more comfortable if James was seducing this child, and he'd be rubbish at it as well. Let's be honest, he'd be absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, I didn't get that the first time that, like, she was doing it just to kind of figure this guy out. I thought she'd, like, suddenly that night just decided, hey, this guy's all right.
Something about this guy like that.
Something about him spitting out that caviar.
Irresistible.
Irresistible. Yeah. Now I kind of get what happened here.
What gets her, what makes her start to smile, and I think this is a great universal, like, leveler. Everyone loves trampoline, and everyone loves to go for a good tramping. You know.
Yeah.
I've not been trampolining, like, properly. I've been on a trampoline, but I've not ever been on, like, a big, proper... I was going to say Olympic-sized trampoline, like, if that's like a unit of measurement. But that's a professional trampoline right there. And they get the double bounce going on there, and they look like they're having... That's when she loosens up, and she's like, you know what, actually...
Genuinely having a blast.
I think I will seduce him, like, irrespective of the fact-finding mission. This is a legitimately good time. Everyone loves a good bounce, though.
Yeah, they do. Can I point out one genuine gag in this slightly, pretty uncomfortable situation?
Yeah.
That is about the situation, but I did actually chuckle at. The bit where he says, oh, like, sleep over.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. He's like, well, but I get to be on top, or something like that.
Yeah, because he wants to be on the top bunk, Sam, in his Pepsi pads.
But also banging then that's how the joke works. And I'm like... And I laughed at it, and then I was like, oh, what? No. I don't want to laugh at what this means.
I didn't want to laugh too much either, because I stand before you like a 30-year-old man, which is recent as 5 years ago, had used the phrase, do you want to sleep over? To a similar scenario, like, you know. I'm not the body of I'm getting looks over here. Joe, I'm not the body of a 13. I'm an actual 30-year-old. I am not a 13-year-old boy trapped in the body of a 13-year-old. That's the really weird thing about being 30 now, is I think a lot of people are going to be like, you're looking into see if I'm actually a 13-year-old soul trapped in it. I'm a legitimate 30-year-old. I'm not one of these poser 30-year-olds like Tom Hanks here, okay?
Now, Josh has got a Pepsi vending machine.
Big Pepsi pad.
In his house, was flat. That would have been the dream for me a few years ago, but...
Would you want it specifically in a vending machine that you could press the button for?
I think that would be cool.
Yeah? The kerchunk is a nice sound, isn't it?
The kerchunk is nice. It's basically a big fridge.
It is, yeah. Exclusively for Pepsi.
I like the look of it. It looks cool. We've had a few movies that have just, like, advertised Pepsi.
Oh, yeah. Pepsi is, like, we're big on their branding. I think Coke thought they were too good for it, but Pepsi are like, no, we'll do it. Seriously, like, you know. If you want, when he opens up his pants and he looks at his man cock, we can put a can of Pepsi in there if you want, guys. We're cool with that. We'll go with it. Whatever you want. Spielberg's, you know.
And after the trampoline bouncing, they do have a genuine sleepover.
Yeah, it's sweet.
And it's kind of sweet. And, you know, she's given off certain signals, and he's, because he's a child, misinterpreted them. And then the night ends, and that's it. And I thought, oh, oh, wait a minute. Everyone said that there was something I should be worried about here. If that's it, I'm fine with that. Because, like, she obviously doesn't know who he truly is.
Yeah.
And he's, got the wrong end of the stick.
So you're saying this is the I should have broke your thumbs part of the movie? You could have just ended it there. It's like, yeah, don't worry, he'll be fine.
I thought this was the thing that people were worried about. And I was like, that's
Sam.
fine. That's totally fine. Like, she said a few things that were, like, flirtatious, and she, implied that she might want to sleep with him. But he didn't, and they just had a night sleepover. That's great. I thought,
it's fine.
Oh, we're all okay. What was everyone so worried about?
It's fine. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. After her experience, she's become more childlike. She
starts
fiddles
dicking around with
James.
things.
Yeah, the radio, trying to play fun music. He's like, no, we can only play the score, not the soundtrack. James becomes more childlike because he's like, I want to play you in squash, which is the most childlike game there is, isn't it? It's just adult Pong with real things.
Have you ever played squash?
I have actually. No, I've not played squash. I played handball, which is like squash, but with a special hand mitt thing. So
right. I've never played squash. I still don't quite get it.
It's what Frasier plays.
Oh, well, there we go.
I'm not going to lie to you. The reason I did handball, I think, is I did it for like 1 week as a kid. It was like, handball, what's that? It's like squash, Kevin. Squash? And I thought, ooh, yum, Kiora. Like,
yeah.
It's maybe too orangey for crows, but I ain't no crow, motherfucker. Yeah, it was not fun. It was very little like squash. It was more like a sport, which I didn't like. But this whole bit here where James is like, he starts off, he kicking his ass, and then Josh gets the rules, and he starts, one-upping him, using, the boy knows how to use this adult body machinery quite efficiently.
Yeah.
He's slipped into the skin quite well. He's time jumped very, very well into this new form. And then he starts beating him, and then James has to resort to the, out! That was never out. It was so out, but it was in. This was a perfect fruit shoot from Robinson's moment right here, where they could have been the bigger boys and went, yeah, it is. Fruit shoot from Robinson's. New thinking, new drinking. And that's why our generation learned right from wrong, isn't it? That's why we're all right and not horrible at all.
But this was before that, and the only example you had to go on was John McEnroe.
You've got to be kidding me. Bullshit, man.
Yeah, so they have an actual scuffle over squash. They have a squash scuffle.
Proper squash scuffle, which is so embarrassing that Susan hits Operation Dumbo drop on James. Your ass is dumped, James. Get out of here. Out of here, Dumbo.
Yeah, she does a little cheek kiss on Josh, and she does a big... she does a big dump.
He's a big dump, mate. James is a big dump. Smelly dump.
He gets ditched. He's out of here. See you later, dickbag.
Bye. And why does she like him? Because he's a grown-up.
I tell you, he's more of a grown-up than some of these adults, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure I can imagine several instances, I don't know why particularly of teachers with students, but you would be shocked how common that is. Like, that is like, honestly, in the few years I was teaching, I heard so many stories, and I was like, really? Like, it happens so often. And there was that big case, wasn't there, where the guy, it was a few years ago, a guy in, like, was it Brighton or somewhere, and he kidnapped a kid and took him to France. And he was like, she's so grown up. It's like, she's 14. Like,
yeah.
They're grown up, or more grown up than you'll ever know, is the last and worst and often used as first line of defense of pedophiles. Susan. Fucking disgusting.
Look, right. In Susan's defense, and I'd say that lightly.
A lot of big words, Your Honour, heard from prosecutor Mr. Mahan over here, and I didn't go to no fancy Irish school. I'm a simple, down-to-earth Nottingham man like the rest of you.
To play the devil's avocado here, she does not know. And he is ostensibly an adult, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? He's... I don't
you know what? I'm
doing this. I don't know why I'm trying to... You don't need to,
because I'm going to come in with fucking O.J. Simpson rhymes, yeah? If he's actually 13, then she is mean. Okay? She done the crime, you're going to do the time, you know? I can't think of any more rhymes, but she's done wrong, Sam, okay?
Yeah, she has. I agree, but...
Oh, this would have been so much worse if they made him into a woman like they said they were going to. It would have been
that would have been a whole other
so much worse. It would have been so fucking weird. So, he goes on a birthday dinner. He goes on a birthday dinner date with Billy.
Yes. Now, this is a film where they fucking sing Happy Birthday, and this is before the whole copyright thing got sorted out. Yeah. They must have had to pay the copyright on the song Happy Birthday.
Yeah, seriously. That's why, like,
Films don't do that.
It's way too expensive.
Yeah, like that's why, like, this whole "he's a jolly good fella" would always be in films. You'd be like, no, they'd be singing Happy Birthday like a normal bunch of people, but they never did in films or TV shows because you have to pay a bit of extra moolah.
I just kind of play it on the down low. Anytime it comes to my birthday, I just have people go, "In the town where I was born, there was a birthday boy. He's 31, 31." You know, it's easy.
Yeah. You go for a much cheaper song.
A much cheaper song. I can't get no birthday wishes. He gets a pizza clown for his birthday, which is equal parts fun and unhygienic.
Yes. But
He puts it in his fucking mouth, Sam. Gross.
It's nice that he has a nice birthday, though.
And I'm telling you, Poppy's getting sloppy here. I don't like it. It's gross.
So does he turn 13 at this point?
He's either 13 going on 30. Whoa! Watch out, Josh. Don't blow out those candles. You'll wake up as Jennifer Garner, you know? Which is a matter of fact, right? I'm going to say, right, 13 going on 30 in 2008 didn't fare much better in terms of this. Like, is it okay showing someone with the mind of a 13-year-old a big, massive willy? Yes, because she can just giggle and it'll be okay. It's all right.
I've not seen that film.
It's a Harvey Weinstein production, that one there. So,
of course it was.
Give yourself a big raise there, you fucking freak.
So he was 12, he now turns 13.
Going on 30, I think. But no, he's going to be 30 forever, so every day is just going to be like...
So that's his 30th birthday again.
Oh, I wish I could be 30 every day, and I get some gifts that are partly responsible. Oh, I wish I could turn 30 every day. Oh, my mom offered to pay towards a dishwasher. Yeah, it's great times here, turn 30. He learns the important role of growing up. He ditches his friend Billy for his cool new girlfriend. That's a Pepsi Max moment right there. We had the Fruit Shoots moment. Now it's a Pepsi Max moment. He's going to hang out with some hot celebs instead of his mates.
You know what I always say, Kevin? It's mates before dates, all right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's mates before dates.
Except after C.
Blokes before cokes. And chums before wine gums. Those are the three mottos that we live your life by, you know? And look at us now.
They're going on a little date to the fair.
It's a bit awkward, this one, isn't it?
Oh, maybe Zoltar will be there. He is there.
Oh, Zoltar. Zoltar is everywhere. Zoltar hears all and says all.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "I've never gone out with someone like you." Yeah.
She's a child.
When they have people before where it's not like going to get you a fucking life sentence in prison, like, you know?
No. They have a little dance.
Oh, yeah, this is the bit now, isn't it? Like, they have a bit of a dance.
Now it starts to get not okay. Yeah.
They do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
Get really upset about the plot of this film.
He wants the light on, which is the kinkiest thing you can do in 1988, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, so they have a little kiss during the dance, and he says, like, "I've got something to tell you." Like, was he actually going to tell her the truth here? Yes, because
and then when he has the birthday, it's very much like he knows that this is a bit fucked up now, and he's slipping into this adult life because he's got the promotion, and you know he could easily just slip in like this pair of shoes. Tom Hanks, great in any role, even being a 30-year-old when he's actually 13, he could just continue living this life, and I think he wants to be honest with her because he likes her, because that's what a top bloke Tom Hanks is.
Yeah. Now the scene where they are back at hers, and there's some undressing.
There is, and there's some touching.
And some touching.
Extended touching. I'm not sure if I got some sort of special DVD where it felt like it went on forever.
No, it stuck on that for quite a fucking while.
Like, it was on it so long, Sam, I thought it was going to go to fucking Comic Sans and be like, millennia ago, many children touched the breasts of older women.
It's properly uncomfortable, isn't it? I don't think this is like my millennial brain making up that something is problematic nowadays. It genuinely is like, this is not. And I don't mean to say that that's not a good position, because it is.
Honestly,
but it's like,
I'm 100%. It is. It's so uncomfortable, and I'm 100% on your side. And the reason, part of me was like, you know what? I'm going to try and take it from both sides and be kind of like, no, let's give it a chance. It was a product of the time. You know what? Anytime you call out something like this and go, it feels a bit weird watching it now. Someone is going to rush to our offence and make sure they tell us why it's not offensive. And I await with glee to find out the people who have tapped this out with a massive erection telling me how this is all right. Come on, go on then. Go, have a go. I fucking dare you. I double dog dare you.
If you watch this scene and you think properly about what is happening, literally, and you don't feel uncomfortable, I think that's pretty bad.
Tom Hanks, he's like the rug that ties the room together, Sam, okay? He's a treasure, and he works in any situation, and he can make you overlook the fact that, hang on, all this furniture's a match, and hang on, I think maybe that something very wrong is going over there with that lamp. It's not the right age. But he's not strong enough to hide this, even with several layers of straight-up Hanks. You can't hide this away. Imagine if Gary Busey was in this movie. This scene with Gary Busey touching that woman's breast for over a minute. I would have called the police on Gary Busey. I would have had the phone dialed.
Yeah.
I'd like to report a historic offence.
During that scene and that sequence, it's not played for yucks as we've seen before. It's not like this is funny.
It's played for nice.
It's played for, like, romance. The score underneath is like a nice, gentle piano thing. It's like, this is a really romantic moment. And it's not, is it? It can't, that's not.
God bless Penny Marshall, the director, who genuinely tried to make this sweet and tender. But I don't think it's just not possible. You know, it's just, it's weird.
After that, after the extended breast touching, we do a fucking quick cut to Josh, all fucking happy about it.
Springing his step, like, you know.
I'll have some black coffee. And I just wrote down here, fuck's sake, he's all happy about it.
Yeah. Which I'm sure, you know, 13-year-olds having sex for their first time, I'm sure they do a great job as well.
Let's not think about this in too much detail, but how well could that have gone? Like, I just don't think that would have been an enjoyable situation for either of them.
You know what? You know what it is? He's got that charm Tom has in this movie. It's just what he does. It's the same way he got that job. You know, the same way. He got caught up in the moment. No one really checked his references. No one did any calls, and before you know it, he's having his black coffee. He even helps a boy at a party with his algebra.
He's done one banging, and now he's a big grown-up.
Proper grown-up here.
Proper grown-up. He's really, like, trying so hard to be an actual grown-up.
There's nothing more grown-up than algebra, I'll tell you that much, you know? And if anyone wants help with their algebra, I will, like, I do love algebra. If there's, like, you're just, like, walking around in your house and say, oh, I can't get to the fridge because there's, like, algebra in the way, I'll give it a solid go, like.
I think, like, at this point, when he's trying to be more grown-up, I'm like, okay, this is where it's all going to go horribly wrong. Like, the fact that he wants to be a grown-up, I can already feel like this is where the plot's going to go from here.
Because he didn't even think when he was, like, wanting to be grown up, he wasn't even like, oh, I didn't know I could have sex as well, you know?
Yeah, I know, he's been, like, weirdly corrupted by that.
Do you think when he comes back after the end of this ordeal, he's going to be like the kids who's, after summer break, he's come back and it's like, oh, what do you do? Like, well, I kissed my cousin. And someone else is like, well, I saw, my aunt's boobs. And he's like, well, I transplanted into the body of a 30-year-old and had sex with a grown woman. She's a pedophile and doesn't even know it. I'm a child again. Boom!
Yeah, well...
He'd be picked first for sports, wouldn't he?
We can come back to this later, because I'm going to talk about this at the end of the film. But I want to know what happens in the immediate aftermath of this film. Like, there's not enough of that, and I need to know, and we can discuss that, because I don't understand.
So, the documents arrive that he's after to find Zoltar, and at the same time he is slipping further and further into adult world. He's going to get a big pitch now to pitch to the head of the company his own toy design. He gets a whole new blank slate to pitch, and he's like Jesus with the tall chairs and passion. Here he is. He invents Telltale games.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
and he even gets the pricing structure pretty much like $18.95 wise. It's pretty much how they work out usually.
Yeah, he
ahead of his time.
Interactive choose your own adventure storytelling
that give the illusion of gameplay.
Yeah. You're just watching stuff happen.
Yeah, but you can play your favourite choices as many times as you like.
Yeah.
Billy is pretty much sick of his shit at this point. And like Billy, he's like upset that he thinks he wants to remain an adult. At the same time, Josh is getting really confused because Susan's like, what is this? He's like, what do you mean, what is this? And she's like, is this an affair? Or what is this? He doesn't understand all this relationship talk. And it's a point where everyone turned around and it's like, more like 30 going on 13, you know what I'm saying? He would be a boy again. He'd deal with all his relationship problems.
I love when Billy kind of marches into his office and Josh is just like, sorry, just on a call here. Can you just come back at lunch? He's like,
you know what he is? He's like Arnie in Jingle, isn't he?
He is,
oh,
yeah.
You're my favourite client. Come on, you haven't got any clients, Josh. Fucking liar.
Who's he talking to on the phone? It's a toy phone, it's not a real phone.
It's full of candy, like, there's not even wires in here. So he goes on for a little bit of an epiphany journey.
Yeah.
He has the big moment. Oh, you throw the thermal pod. That's how you melt the wizards.
I want to be a child.
He hangs around some schools and playgrounds.
Yeah, and that's all right because he's a child. This is one of those situations where actually what he's doing is okay because he is a child.
That's it, right? We have to be careful and not say this is sweet because someone's going to come at us and say, well, this movie's okay. And going to go, well, what about when he hung around all those playgrounds then? You didn't call that out. It's like,
No,
yes, okay.
Different. But
if anyone called the police or a concerned citizen alerted the supervisors or whatever, they'd be in their right to do so. And then it should have been cleared up. Where are the police? He went back to his old school. Like, who is this big man who's appeared out of nowhere?
With his big coat, just watching the kids be kids. But he starts to miss childhood, doesn't he? He misses his friends, he misses school, he misses his old life, he misses his family.
He misses his wizard.
He misses the wizard. And he tries to explain this to Susan by saying that he finally confesses. It's like, I got another confession to make. I'm a child. He says that he misses his family and he wants to go home. And she's like, I knew you were married and like it must have been something. But he's like, no. I am a child. I have a family.
He literally says, I am
a
a child, Susan.
Yeah. And she's like, well, that like all the men in my bloody life. Am I right?
Like, I'm 13. Who isn't? Many people, Susan. Anyone not age 13, that's who.
But this conversation is a bit heartbreaking because it's very reminiscent of the time when he tried to convince his mum that he was himself and he was still a child. And he doesn't get believed, and it happens again. Like, he even though he's being very clear about what he is, he won't be believed because he's in this adult body.
If only she could tap into some of that childlike innocence that she has leached off of his life force to see it from his point of view. She's got no chill at all. No time to entertain the fact that she's a sex offender now.
No,
or that
she doesn't listen to it. She just kind of ignores it.
In fairness, if you were in Susan's situation, you would be like, nope. Come on, no.
You're a 30-year-old man having some sort of breakdown or crisis of confidence here. That's all that's happening. We're okay.
Again, this is a scene with the right music and distortion. You can make this an absolute nightmare.
Fucking chilling. Yeah.
To the bone. Mom and Billy are having a chat as well, kind of going, have you seen him? No, guess not.
And then so Billy just decides, right, I'm going back to fucking New York again.
To see your child. Billy's rubbish. And like that poor mother, that they've broken her heart is what it is.
But Billy's got the thing he sent off for in the post that would tell Josh where Zoltar was.
Yeah, he's got the docs.
Yeah.
You don't want the docs.
He's got the docs. He brings the docs to Josh, lays it on the table, says, there you go. And this is before the big pitch meeting. And Josh just does this kind of like, he gets a message from his secretary or something saying like, we're ready for you now. And he's like, okay. And Billy's like, right, fuck you, mate. There you go. I'm out. If you're not going to help yourself.
He's a proper adult suit now as well. Double-breasted boy. Like, he hasn't got like a silly hodgepodge suit.
We haven't talked about the cobbled together shit suits and how they slowly get better and better.
And that's the funny thing is actually, if you look style-wise, his adult grown-up, that's a proper suit for a VP of product development, actually looks sillier now and less in fashion than some of his cobbled together, quite frankly, Wes Anderson-esque suits, like, you know.
Although I like how the costume transition from childish man boy to actual inverted commas man happens.
And that is a nice thing about the movie. It does show how easy it is, particularly if you're caught in like kind of, you know, in the routine or the rat race or whatever, and you become career focused. It shows you how easily or how conditioned we kind of are to slip into that, and how easy it is to lose your. Now, he's surrounded by all these adults who've lost touch with with their inner child, and he's an actual child. There's actually a child inside him. Yeah, and even he does, and that shows you he needs to dig that child out of him and excavate him before it's too late.
Which I think at this point, during the pitch meeting, where he's saying, "Oh, it's a comic book, but you can choose which ones," he just thinks, "Fuck this shit." I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going back to being a kid again. I don't want to be
It's a rubbish
pitching
product.
to these jerks. Screw it.
James is so bad that he will give up the opportunity to be 30. And yeah, I think a month being 30 is probably long enough to make you want to be 13 at the end.
Yeah.
I will say I've been 30 for 5 months now.
Yeah, you want to go back?
No. I'm still la 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 la. I'm loving it. I'm still loving it. I do.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back and be 13 now.
Okay.
I think that's, even if Zoltar offered me that, I'd be like, can you make me stay 30 forever? Maybe.
Yeah.
13?
No.
No. I've watched Freaky Friday. It doesn't work well the other way, because I don't want to be out of touch, you know? And also, as well, I will say, right, legitimately, and you got to agree with me on this one, being 13, now, as hard as being 13 is...
Oh, it must be awful now.
Can you imagine? You had to start here like, oh, it's so stressful being a 13-year-old. How many games of stickball am I going to play? Fucking social media, mate?
Yeah,
All the
yeah,
fucking...
no, fuck
oh,
that.
no way. Fuck being 13.
Back when I was being cyberbullied, the cyberbullies had to know a bit of HTML in order to cyberbully me. But now it's all done for them. You know?
Yeah, now it's plug and play hatred.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know?
It must be, being sincere here, a fucking nightmare to be a teenager in this day and age.
I will tell you from my experience that, like, not that I've been 13.
No, you've taught,
now,
like...
but I've taught kids. It sucks. It
Yeah.
absolutely sucks. You know?
Fuck that shit. I don't want to go back to that.
So Josh finds Zoltar, and he wishes, and Susan kind of comes to have a bit of a face-to-face, and he's like, well, there's a million reasons for me to go back, like, and only one reason for me to stay, and she's kind of, you know, you want to be a man? Do you want to be a man?
Yeah,
Don't tempt me, Susan!
So what Josh wants is for her to go back to being a kid again too, I think. That's what he's saying. Like,
come on.
she should go to Zoltar and be like, I want to be... does she have to go and say, I wish I were little? Like, is that how it works?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
Zoltar works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
I'd be careful. She'd probably wake up 60 otherwise. You never know, like.
And at this point, she understands, she believes him, she presumably feels a bit sick, but then she says this like, oh, who knows, maybe in 10 years...
No, Susan, stop it!
When you're 23 and
No.
she's like, I mean, let's say she's 30 or something, like...
10 years' time, you'll still be in prison, Susan, because what you've done is wrong.
Yeah, the whole hold on to my number thing is definitely not the right thing to say here. That's creepy.
No, because she's committing to like 10-year contract there as well. Which is like, come on, Susan, you fucking dope. Like,
So
you're going to want to upgrade your handset by the turn of the millennium. Come on.
I think that bit is like, that's a written joke, isn't it? But it doesn't really land
No, it
now,
kind of,
especially
honestly,
not now. Or even ever.
the final act of this aged horribly, and I think say for the closing shot, we've got, you know, a little boy in a man's suit going, wah! That's great. Like, anyone
I
in a
love
big
that.
suit, that's great, and his shoes
Funny.
fall off when he's running.
Yeah.
And let alone his heartbroken mother in there who's had to be on tender hooks the whole time. That's a lovely closing scene. It's all nice, but I think it's a testament to the first 2/3 of this movie and how charming they still are. Mostly the last third of this movie, like pretty much as soon as they have sex, I'm like, and I didn't get comfy again. I lost my ass groove in this movie at this point.
Yes. It's not aged well. I think I see what they were trying to do, but I feel like they had an opportunity to. They already kind of did the whole thing of like, she's being a bit overtly sexual, but he's a child misunderstanding it, and that's it. In a way, that's funny. And the first time it kind of happens, there's jokes, and it's a silly misunderstanding, but it's not horrible, right? But then when actual sexual activity happens, it's just like, why did they need to
Yeah, you've already
revisit that?
teased us with this, and it's kind of it's diminishing returns. It's less funny, like, and if you look at it as a comedy or whatever,
Yeah.
the movie, like, it peaks with its laughs in the first like middle, and then it just kind of slowly peters off, and then the awkwardness just overtakes the gags.
If you're trying to set up that they have a bond and a relationship and some kind of connection like that, I think you could do that with her being enamored with the whole childlike I mean, that is what's happening with her.
She's enamored with the childlike nature and the idea, find your inner child, find that little spark of youth or whatever, and
which
you'll
I guess
be irresistible.
In that situation, given the context, is fine, but I don't want to sound too preachy, but like, it's yucky, isn't it? The actual level of the fact that they fucking have sex, like, it's just weird. It's weird, and it's not okay, and it's
okay.
Like,
2 questions about this, right? Because number one, this has been weighing on my mind a lot.
Yeah.
This was directed by a woman, which I
Yes.
think definitely influenced the tone of this.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could say is, could you imagine some of those other, less successful, more schlocky body swap movies that came out this same year, how they probably handle these situations? I'm not going to go and watch 3 other movies right now, but I figured they probably didn't do as good a job here. Like, there was apparently a moment on this during the film when they found out that there was like another one coming out.
Yeah.
That apparently Tom Hanks literally sighed, and him and the director were like, this is going to go straight to video pretty much at this rate, because it's just like, there's nothing special about this movie now. But it's all anchored by Tom's performance. But the other thing I was going to ask you was, if you were 13 when you saw it, do you think you would have been like, yeah, all right? Or do you think it would have been, ugh? Think about it, like, you were 13 would have been what, 2002 or 3?
yeah,
So I think that was at a point we knew that paedophilia was bad.
yeah. But I think, honestly, as a 13-year-old, I probably would have been like, hey, this is all fine.
Yeah,
like,
it's a romp, isn't it?
I'm not going to pretend that, like, my 27-year-old views, like, I just would have not really... I just had fun with it, I wouldn't really have thought that far into it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think it's one of those movies, I don't say it's lost to time, but it's certainly been spoiled by time.
A little bit, yeah, quite a bit. But I don't want that to take away from the fact that it's a good film, and
It's a really good movie.
Fun, and I really enjoyed watching it. And I was invested in it. I had a good time. There's just a bit of it that is uncomfortable to think about if you think about it enough.
And that is why you must return a verdict of not guilty, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Thank you very much. I know you will do what's right. Like, it's okay, Susan. It's okay. We got to be strong, Susan. We got to be strong.
It's a complicated moral puzzle.
It is, and it's quite easy just to be like, it's just wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, there's fucking. Why am I doing this? But like, there's more. When you think about what happens, it's like, it's confusing. But just the fact of what is happening is fucked up. I don't think any of the characters are necessarily in the wrong at the time.
Yeah. No one is acting with agency over.
No one has done anything intentionally wrong,
Your Honor.
Your Honor. However, what has happened in the film, the events that have unfolded, are fundamentally bad.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what Mr. Chapman will spin you silky smooth, honey-laden gossamer lies from his Nottingham tapestry of deceit. Let I mind you that a child has been... I mean, come on here, right?
Yeah.
No. And you know what? I'll tell you what the issue is here, Sam. As soon as recent as 2014, they were trying to make a big TV series. And they made a musical of this in the 90s as well, as far as I know. So someone on Broadway was like, I'm gonna have sex with this child.
The broad idea of the film is very interesting and very fun, and lends itself to, I mean, dicking around on the big piano. That's fun for a musical. Love that. The old boob touching, less jaunty,
I think they would have played a tuba or something while that was happening.
No, they'd have done a gentle fucking piano ballad because it's so romantic, according to this fucking film. Now, when this film finishes, the credits roll, Josh has gone home, right? And he's hanging out with Billy.
Yeah, they pick up where they left off.
But no, like, what the fuck happens then? Can we just very briefly touch on, I mentioned this before, but like, where does the money go that he earned as an adult man? What's happening with his flat?
I know that. That money went in because he used Billy's dad's ID and credit card and all that. So that money would have went into his dad. Yeah, Billy's dad, he nicked his wallet at the start. Right. That's how he had the ID and all that stuff. So it was like, we've got someone who's old enough for me to have ID of. I'm pretty sure that's why they took out cash earlier in the movie. So he's obviously been taking out cash the whole time and paying in cash. Yeah. But yeah, Billy's dad will get a bit of a windfall. And maybe he can use that money to get a fucking babysitter to look after his shitty kid. Yeah.
So there's a flat somewhere that needs to be sold. He has to just literally explain to his parents that, no, there was no kidnapper. Or maybe he goes along with the kidnapper lie.
Who
knows? In that case, the
knows?
police are then chasing some mystery kidnapper who doesn't exist.
Which is a waste of police hours, which obviously they're stretched enough that they couldn't even do basic investigation. FAO Schwartz, Sam, and Macmillan Toys, they're going to be under investigation for breaking child labour laws.
Yeah, and they've lost a key employee.
They have. Yeah. That's like, they bunked the whole fall lineup. They said it's going to be you. And Susan's got a lot of slack to pick up for. Susan and James, what the fuck's going to go on with them? Where's your mystery man? Well,
there's a lot of, loose
Susan can
here.
tell no one forever. Imagine that. She has to live with that for the rest of her life.
But
That's
the thing about that is that's a fucking fascinating story. You can't tell anyone. No.
She has to live with that forever.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, needless to say, you and I may not know anything about romance as defined in 1988, but if you were going to give this bad boy a rating, it's a movie that you seem to have enjoyed yet have been troubled by aspects of it.
Yeah.
Kind of like I figured you would be, to be honest. I think it's the most accurate I think I've been recently about what I reckon your reaction will be. But yeah, what was your final thoughts and star wipe rating for Big?
This is tough because I had a good time. I genuinely had a good time watching it, and I feel good about it, but I also feel uncomfortable about bits of it.
That's what she said. That's what she said in a written statement to the police when she went to prison for having sex with someone with the legal mind, with the actual mind and soul of a 13-year-old.
This is genuinely tough because it's like, I feel it's somewhere between 3 and 4 in terms of star wipes.
You got to pick one.
Can I do
no
halves?
half measures?
Have I ever done halves? No halves.
I have forbidden it because no half measures.
All right. I liked it a lot.
Hot Dog Magazine doesn't do half stars, so we don't either.
Okay, I liked it a lot, but it's weird. 3 star wipes. I'm going to say I'm conflicted, but 3 star wipes.
You heard it here first.
Oh, hello. Thanks for listening to another episode of Cinema Swirl. This episode was produced by Kevin, it was edited by me, Sam, and the music was also by me. Remember, you can like us over on Facebook at facebook.com/cinemaswirl. You can follow us on Twitter, that's @cinemaswirl. And if you've got any questions, queries, comments, or other stuff, you can send it on over to cinemaswirl@gmail.com. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Remember, if you haven't already, to subscribe on iTunes or whichever podcast thing you use. And if you like the show, leave a review. And if you want to help us out, recommend us to a friend. Until next time, thanks for listening. Bye.